Well, good morning. We're here today to talk about the 10th anniversary of Board of Advisors. We're at the Ritz-Carlton in Las Colinas, Texas, just outside of Dallas, and we've got a crowded room down the hall. But we wanted to take a minute and get caught up on Kevin's and my conversation. So we have Kevin Harrington here today, and him and I are just going to chit-chat about the Board of Advisors, about the 10th anniversary, get an update from Kevin, and so let's do that.
Hey,
hi.
Good to be here, Jimmy.
Absolutely. So that's great.
I love Dallas, and a great place to have an event.
Mm-hmm.
As you mentioned, a big room full of people, so that's always a good thing.
It's a little bit of standing room only in there this morning. So that's neat. First of all, I've got to apologize to you. Although you threw the tee and got stuck with me for the first 6 holes last Friday, probably the worst 6 holes I've played in a long time. So, you got to throw the tee to the right place.
But this is the thing. The next 6 were pretty good, So,
yeah, and I heard a few curse words behind me about me warming up on you, and
that's the crazy part of golf.
That is.
You can turn it on a dime. So it's always a good time hanging out on the golf course with you.
Yeah, that's cool. So that's at the Pelican in Clearwater, which you and I played a number of times, and I think you played it a number of 100 times.
I played a lot. It's the Pelican it's a great course, and they every year they host the Annika tournament there, and so it's coming up very shortly.
Right,
and there'll be the best LPGA players from all over the world. It's gaining some significant momentum in that world. So.
That's got a celebrity twist to it this time.
Celebrity twist. One of the Trump granddaughters will be there, and Caitlin Clark is slated to play, and it's something that as hard as we all work, it's good to also have let off some steam out on the golf course too. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we create steam there instead of letting it off. But
right, we started playing out here at the Byron Nelson TPC course out behind the Ritz here on Fridays after the event. And I know usually you've got to be heading somewhere by Friday, but we'll have to get you hooked up with that.
Can't wait for that.
We won't do it in February. I saw some of the pictures from February, and it was pretty, last February it was pretty cold out there. So we'll have to keep an eye on the weather.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I've been doing since I became the CEO and started guiding some of those decisions. Is our membership here. I mean, they're all successful people. They don't really report to anybody for the most part, right. So they don't have to explain it because it's a big commitment to come out for a few days and travel and be away from their business, away from their family. Although a lot of people are starting to bring their families, which is really cool. But it's okay to have fun. And I think, some of us, especially, our generation, we're used to, even punching a clock kind of for ourselves, right? Where you feel guilty if you're out playing golf on Thursday or Friday or going to a great event like we had out at Jay Claver's shop last night. And I thought it was kind of cool to bring that fun. It's okay to have fun. Well, you do deals when you're in
deals.
Those things.
And last night, just short of midnight, we finished a big round of Texas Hold'em, and so
that's appropriate.
It's when you talk about fun. And around the table, there was 8 or 9 of us playing, and a couple of guys that I have seen at the events. But when you're playing cards, and there's a bonding, a camaraderie that's created, and so. I think that's part of what everybody loves about Board of Advisors is that you make friends and friends for life in many cases.
Sure. Yeah.
So and because you end up with these folks that you make friends with become an advisor to you and your business and give you great ideas and thoughts about the future and growth and scaling and all the amazing things that you learn here at BA.
Right. No, it's I always say that in the 10 years, I was a founding member. You were a founding member 10 years ago, and now we're kind of going into the next chapter there. But I never thought after 50 I'd get new best friends. those people that are on your
Right.
two hands, and I've gotten several out of this relationship, and you just don't expect to do that in the second half of your life. And,
Yeah, well, it's because we've all kind of been in the trenches. We've built, and we've had ups and we've had downs, and we've seen the things that have been good for us, and we've learned the hard way in many cases. So it's easy to share that with others, and that's what people are here to kind of get some help. It's like, what can I expect? And again, the concept of board of advisors is when you join BA, you have a board of advisors to help advise you on your future growth, and along the way, then that's where the friendships start and the camaraderies continue to exist. So it's really a cool thing. And as we go back to the original days, as you said, founding members 10 years ago, I think. I don't remember exactly how many people were in the first few sessions, but dozen, 2 dozen or so, maybe.
Yeah, probably
right?
a dozen, and then adding a half a dozen, and then a dozen, and
so
it grew
at that
consistently.
time there was a vision, and Mike Calhoun was a hard charging entrepreneur that had a great vision to build this into a very powerful organization, and so here we are. 10 years later, and wow, what a transformation has happened at BA. And of course, just recently, as you've had the chance to come in and be now get involved in an equity stake and CEO running the business, you've brought your team of experts in that you can feel the difference in BA today versus BA even just 2 years ago, let alone 10 years ago, right? And I think, what really has been awesome for BA and also for me, I'm seeing people today that were members a few years back, in one in particular, 2018, he was a member. Well, 7 years later, what did he do? He rejoined because he's heard the buzz of what's going on with kind of the new BA. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and you mentioned Mike. I mean, Mike is the most dynamite promoter, networker, relationship development, idea, generation for our members, and we called it when we first got involved, and so we went from Mike running the entire company, back office, front office, marketing, promotions, member liaison, every task that a lot of entrepreneurs do when they start. I think that's we all started that way, and he's just such an intense bulldog for the membership.
Yeah.
But then he had all these other things that were diluting his time, and he was and for entrepreneurs, I think, that are out there listening, it's important to understand that sometimes you have to make those uncomfortable decisions, because nobody that founds a company, that founded the company, it's not easy for them to say, "Hey, I'm going to bring in help." And
Exactly.
That's a really bold and brave decision that he made to say, hey, I can take better care of my members if I got guys here running their particular phase of the business, so I can spend all my time. We call it Project Unleash Mike. and I think everybody's enjoying that, and that's just improving everybody's value. So.
When I was a young entrepreneur, the concept of having a board and a board of advisors wasn't really something that I even tuned into, because many entrepreneurs are very headstrong about their abilities, about their vision, and I didn't want to hire other people that were smarter than me at the time. It's like, I thought, I'm the owner. I want to make the decisions. And by the way, yes, I made them, but I had to live or die with the decisions I made. And eventually I figured out that when you bring on advisors to your company and you create an advisory team, which is really what you get when you join BA, is you get a board of advisors, then it becomes a more professional business, more accountable. And when you are the only one making the decisions, you're going to try to justify all the decisions you made, right or wrong. Whereas with an advisory team, they're going to tell you, hey, they're going to call you out and like, hey, you could have done this better and this better and this better. And so I believe in, I tell entrepreneurs that aren't familiar with the BA model, having an advisory team, that they should create their own dream team of advisors. And that is something that can be very powerful for a startup, because in my own case, I was very good in the marketing and the sales and making the cash register ring, boom, boom, boom. But keeping all of that money is at the end of the day, it isn't how much you gross, it's how much do you keep.
Sure, sure. It's
really,
both. You got to have both equations.
Both of them, right? Yeah. And so when I started getting smarter about surrounding myself with experts, surrounding myself with advisors, and actually, participating now here 10 years at BA, the amazing things that people, you get up, you get to talk, and then you get all this input from people, and it's just an amazing feel of camaraderie that exists inside the organization. And and this dream team concept is something that I tell people that are entrepreneurs that, for whatever reason, if they can't be a member of BA, they should do it themselves. But the best and easiest way to do it is to be a member of BA.
Exactly, and you've heard me mention to our group down the hall a number of times that when you become a member of BA, and whatever stage of business you're in, every professional with a strong code of conduct to help each other down in our organization, the board of advisors, helps each other. And we've got every aspect of business that you can, if you categorized it, beginning with business planning, funding and modeling and investment capital and operational, legal, tax mitigation, compliance, HR. You go through that whole process. There's experts right there, and you don't have to call around to everybody in your town. You just come by here, and everybody's committed to help each other. So
I remember I was growing a business. We had great sales, and we had some profits, but not as much as we should have. And we needed to raise capital to grow the business. And so my attitude was, we've got a great business, and you build a great business and the money will come. Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't happen that way exactly, okay?
Yeah, they got to get in the right order.
You have to be able to talk to the right people, have the right presentation, and make that deal make sense for everybody. So what I actually did is I got some advice from someone, said, you know what, there's this former bank president that is very connected in the world of finance. Maybe you could bring him on in some consulting capacity, or even maybe an employee capacity. And I finally said, yes, I did. And within months, this gentleman was raising me millions of dollars at facilities and banks that had already turned me down. And that was proof positive that, as good as I thought I was at building the business, I wasn't the guy that was going to be able to raise the capital. And so, I always believe in getting the right people for the right positions.
Of course, and that's what we're built on here. So that's terrific. So you've got you've got some real, I know one real exciting thing going on that's new. Do you want to talk about that, or can you talk about that?
Yeah. So we have. As a shark from Shark Tank, we get a lot of phone calls from people that are interested in getting. Generally, they want help or they want money, and not necessarily in that order. Sometimes it's they want money and then they want help, right? But I was involved in a very successful product that started really kind of at zero almost. It was a startup called Celsius, the energy drink company. And fast forward 10, 11 years later, it's grown to a $15 billion company with a B, right? So now I've been getting approached from various beverage companies and other energy drink companies. So I'm involved in a new energy drink launch, because when you look at the energy business, Red Bull is it's billions and billions, and Monster is 60 billion, and Celsius is 15 billion. So to get into that business to compete at those levels is very difficult, but there are very many niche opportunities in the world of energy. So for example, I'm now part of a group, and we've invested millions of dollars into a startup that is focused on Hispanic energy drinks, because the Hispanic market has a different taste palette, and they're looking for different kinds of flavors, and they like a sweeter version of the product, and sometimes not as carbonated or no carbonation. So anyway, we have a new company that we've launched called Cipher, and Cipher has some value in the marketplace, in the Hispanic marketplace. It's in a lot of, the term is used in music videos and things like that. But so now this is a startup, but it's now approaching thousands of stores and distribution, and reminds me of the early days of Celsius. But there's no competition other than the mass competition, but we think we have an edge because we formulated a product that appeals to the market that we're going after. So that's one of a couple dozen different projects that I'm involved with. We've invested in various things, but I like to say, can we find a product or service that's unique enough in the market that solves a problem, and it solves it in a fashion that is not already being solved in a similar fashion. And so in the world of energy for Hispanics, there was not a product that was non-carbonated and sweeter and that was out there already. So we found that unique positioning of a product that solves the problem of get me an energy drink that the Hispanic folks will like, and now we have it as a very powerful new product launch, and gaining some good traction, getting influencers to join the team, and that was part of Celsius's playbook. We started with some big celebrities,
rock stars,
and the Flo Rida and the Kardashians and et cetera, and fast forward, tens of thousands of influencers, and many of them fitness kind of influencers. And so we're going to be using some of the same playbook from Celsius and et cetera to help launch some of these new things that we're involved with, like Cipher.
Mm-hmm. That's exciting. No doubt it'll be a something with a B before too long with you involved in it.
I like your thinking, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, they got the right people around them.
Yeah, thank you.
That's super. Good luck with that. That's going to be awesome. So yeah, and we then back to board of advisors. We actually contracted here with the Ritz for all of 26. That's just gotten done in the last couple of weeks. And,
nice.
And so we're going to be here for a good while, and we're having a lot of success with great people. We don't do the celebrity stuff so much. The people that you did
right.
with Celsius, but what we do is take our great members that are down there and just have them talking to each other as much as possible. I know you're going to be hosting some panels this afternoon, some friendly Shark Tank atmosphere panels, and getting to talk to some of our newest members and giving feedback to them and so forth. So and we're also growing our Texas base quite a bit. We were at a Texas mixer down at Jay Claver's shop last night, and you actually sat in the cigar room, and that's where you guys were playing poker, right?
We had a nice round.
I almost said something. You know what I almost said?
Yeah, it was when you're hanging out and playing poker, and I love the word camaraderie, but there was definitely a lot of that. And I'm gonna say this, giving you some credit, Jimmy, that Mike did an awesome job spending 10 years building BA into what it is, but I can feel a difference now that you've brought not only yourself, but you've brought a team of experts that are really solid on building businesses. And so, for example, I know as Mike has done these events, one per quarter, your model is to maybe have some satellite offerings around the country so that they can feed into the national. And so it wasn't too long ago you called and said, hey, can you come to New York and hang out with a New York group that is kicking the tires about getting involved with the board of advisors. And I think that is a great strategy because, yes, originally everything happened sort of Tampa, Sarasota, and now here we are in Dallas at the Ritz. But New York and LA and Chicago and many other markets would love to hear about what we're doing and what you're doing and building, and continue to build Board of Advisors into a nationwide powerhouse.
Yeah, we proved that out with some of our valuable members that we had them help us in the geography that they were in with some of the X events, and those are 1-day events, one evening and 1 day, which is really how BA started back in the day. But we're really excited about that because we can reach out to people that don't have the time to invest here, but they can understand it and get involved in the networking and relationships. But it's also a place that our members, so if our members, that's here is from Seattle, they're going to be able to look on their schedule and see when we're going to be in Seattle.
Right.
And then they'll get to meet that whole network that's kind of homegrown in Seattle, and then some of them will end up here. So it really pours value back into our existing membership, because they can be, if they're on a business trip to Atlanta, they have some flexibility. They can plan to go to the Board of Advisors Atlanta meeting in conjunction with that trip. So it's really going to get fun in 26.
They can connect with their local community full of Board of Advisor members, but then also many or most of the members of BA are really in businesses that are nationwide and in many cases even potentially global. And so it's good to be able to tune in to a network that has like-minded people that are thinking on a global basis, or certainly a nationwide basis.
Yeah, we've got a longtime member that comes in from Australia, John. You know John, and
just met one today from Bali.
So it's really neat. We've got Justin comes from Hawaii a couple times a year, and so it's really neat to see that the depth and the value that everybody sees there. So, man, this has been great. It's good to catch up with you. It's
been good, and we got to get. I got to play the Byron Nelson course. My last trip, I've stayed right on. I might have been the 18th hole, and I'm like,
that's just teasing you, isn't it?
Can't wait to get into my meetings today.
Yeah, right.
So I'm looking at people hitting a 200-yard shot into the green. I'm like, well, maybe next time I'll be out there on the golf course.
Yeah, well, the landing area in that fairway is about. It looks like it's about 20 feet wide between the lake and no beach.
It's not an easy course to navigate, but we got a few courses back home. We'll be jumping on when we get back.
You got it. Looking forward to it.
Hey,
all right, my friend.
Jimmy, thank you.
You too.
Take care.